Sanguishugabog, that's the best pronunciation you're going to get from me, claim Memphis venue general manager threatened to shoot the band following show. I'm just looking at Lamb Goat right now. What the fuck is that? Following their set at 1884 Lounge on Tuesday, July 29th, the band says venue general manager Corey Lakins accused them of breaching their contract by not playing their full slot time, then allegedly shoved the tour manager out of his office. When the touring bands later attempted to settle up and clarify the issue, Sanguishugabog claims Lakins opened the office door and threatened to shoot them. What the fuck is that? He reportedly exited the venue shortly after. And then the band posted about them on their Instagram. By the way, if you're not following them, they have the funniest and best Instagram, and they're also sick. So check them out. But this was their post on Instagram. Warning, bands, booking agents, managers do not work for this clown. This is Corey Lakins, and hopefully by tomorrow morning, he doesn't have a job. At our show in Memphis, Tennessee tonight, right after we got done playing, we were told to come to his office, or TM came up, and he was told that we breached our contract because our set ended earlier than what we were slotted. Not a thing. And shoved him out of the office. All the bands returned to settle up. Just wanted to have a conversation. He popped his head out of the office to tell us to leave, or he was going to shoot us. I can't remember anything that terrible ever happening to us on the road. We had promoters disappear, not show up, or say, hey, sorry, like only 50 people showed up tonight, so we can't pay you what we promised. Lots of shitty things have happened, but something got to be going on for this guy to threaten to shoot a band who's just trying to get their money and just not pay them at all because their set ran a little short. Like, if it even did, like, who knows? But they said they found him by his fuckboy haircut. Oh, man. But we're doing a solo episode today. It is Saturday morning. Beautiful, crispy 55 degrees out right now. And I'm going to talk about anything and everything because that's what these episodes are for. It's SummerSlam weekend. By the time this comes out, it will already be over for you guys. But if you're a WWE fan, this is a great weekend because it's the first time they're doing a 2-day SummerSlam. I'm not as excited for tonight's card as I am for tomorrow. They always say like both nights are equal. It's not like for WrestleMania because it's 2 nights now too. But I really feel like they stack Sundays. Excited for that cage match. Was it Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu in a cage? That should be sick. Naomi versus Rhea versus Io Sky. And I want to talk about Naomi versus Rhea, or sorry, Io versus Rhea. That match they just had recently was up there with one of the greatest women's matches, or just matches in general, I've ever seen. Like, and I was so bummed that Naomi cashed in because they had this amazing chemistry. I was like, they would have got a standing ovation probably. Like, it was so fucking good. And Naomi comes out and cashes in her Money in the Bank and like ruins the match. That ruined it for me. I did not like that. When you have a match going that well, and I know like when you're planning this shit, like you don't know the match is going to be that good. So in your head, like this makes sense for our story and what we want to do. But when a match is so incredibly amazing between two people and then is like messed up by interference, I just hate when that happens. But Rhea and Io absolutely killed it, and I know they're having a triple threat. Is that on Sunday or Saturday? On Sunday. So I'm stoked for that. Hopefully they can make it as amazing as the previous match. Rhea and Io are just like top fucking notch. But yeah, stoked for SummerSlam. It's the second biggest PLE they do. We just lost Hulk Hogan. I'm wearing my American Made shirt. We lost Ozzy. We lost Hulk. It's like, who's next? They always go in 3 years, right? I'm stoked to see what they do with Cena and Cody. Cena just came out last night, I believe. I missed SmackDown because I was recording with Mike. But Cena came out, and Cody had said earlier, like, I don't like this Cena. Go find the John Cena that we all knew because that's who I want to wrestle. And then Cena like started to turn back like halfway between heel and babyface, which makes me think maybe Cody is going to turn heel Sunday night. But again, this is coming out on Monday, so you already know. But I'm excited to see what they do. I think Cody would be a fantastic heel. Uh, he's just like such a perfect baby face that doesn't appeal to me personally. Like, just kissing babies and wearing a suit and being the nice guy all the time. I would love to see a savage Cody, and I know he could do that. I watched WWE Unreal the day it dropped. It was like, that was what, Tuesday. I watched every single episode the first night. I couldn't stop until like 1 a.m. I watched all 5 episodes, and that, like, I love behind the scenes stuff with anything, whether it's bands or movies or wrestling. And this is the most they've ever shown. Like, showing Cody and Kevin Owens talking about their match, like right after it, while Kevin's still covered in blood, and he's like, "Sorry about how the power bomb went. The way the ladder was positioned, I didn't want it to look like shit." And just like seeing them be candid about it and how they plan things and being in the writer's room. If you're a fan of that stuff and you haven't seen it, I definitely would say check that out. I think Triple H is killing it. I know some people are mad about it, like, got to keep kayfabe alive, man. And it's like, well, I want to see that shit. And people say like real fans wouldn't want to see that. It's like, you can't tell me what I want to fucking see. I've been watching WWE since I was a kid. I took a long break when I got into music, but got back into it in the 20 teens somewhere. Thanks to my buddy Zacho. He gave me his WWE network password and said, go watch this match or whatever. And then I got hooked and I went back and watched all the Attitude Era Raws, SmackDowns, old pay-per-views, Undertaker, Kane, Stone Cold, Rock. I grew up in that shit. So I am a real fan, and you can't tell me what the fuck I want to see. So give me more Triple H. I think it was fantastic. And like, when I got to go to the Royal Rumble, I told this story, I think once or twice on here, at least. I know I talked about it with Lyric a little bit, but my friend Zacho and Steve took me with them. We went backstage, and I fell in love with it. It reminded me of like touring in a band at like just a much more massive scale, because just like the energy backstage and like, seeing people, setting things up, and like I know all the traveling involved, and like the wrestlers, I know like they're responsible for their own travel. Maybe they get, some of their plane tickets covered and shit, but like they book their own travel, they rent their own cars. They got to travel from city to city and, hit the gym and, practice. And, it's just like, it reminded me a lot of touring. And I think in another life, I would have loved to have tried to work for the WWE in some sort of way. I loved the energy and the atmosphere and getting to see it backstage and see, the wrestlers just be themselves. It's also funny. Because we had whatever pass to go backstage, I could go back there to use the restroom, and we were on the floor, like second or third row. This was 2023. Was it? It's Cody's eliminated Gunther in one. It was the first one he won. But I was going back to take a piss, and it was right before the women's rumble. And I go through the back, and all 30 women who are going to, be coming out every 2 minutes or however long it is, they're all lined up to go, through Gorilla and go out. And I just walked back and saw them, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, I felt like a little kid being there. When we first walked in, the very first person we saw was Seth Rollins, and he came up and said hi to Steve. And then we saw, I think, Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn talking to each other, and we saw fucking Undertaker just sitting on a stack of like chairs that were folded up, and he's just sitting there by himself, just chilling. And I wanted to go say hi, but I was too nervous. I didn't want to bother him. But I was just a kid in a candy store, and like I get to meet the king, shake his hand, just one of the goats of the announcers. But yeah, just being in that energy, it just reminded me of tour and, all the travel and like the nerves before you go out, and especially seeing them talk about that in Unreal, like seeing that they are real people. They are nervous. They get the jitters before they go through, Gorilla and walk out and their music hits. And to like have an entrance and do that by yourself, and you're going out there in front of like 15,000 people or way more on one of these massive events, like, I can't imagine that level of nerves, because when you walk out on stage as a band, you don't always have an intro. The headliners will do that. They'll play some music and you walk out and the crowd cheers and stuff. And we did that on a headlining tour a couple of times. But when you're walking out with 4 other people or however many, it takes some of the nerves off because all the eyes aren't on you. especially when you're not the lead singer. Like I liked being a guitarist because it was like in the middle. Like everyone says, like nobody takes pictures of the drummer or nobody cares about the bass player. It was like I got to be up front and be near the crowd and whatever, but all the eyes weren't on me because I've always been generally kind of a more introverted person. And I don't mind playing guitar in front of people and fucking jumping around and headbanging and shit, but like something about having the mic and talking or your voice, it's like I don't know, that makes me more nervous as I sit here and talking to a mic and post it on the internet every week. But I'm getting more comfortable with it. It was still tough to like learn how to do this, especially when it's a solo episode and I have no one to talk to, and just sit here and feel like you're not rambling. And it's like, why would anyone listen to this? But then I listen to podcasts all the time, more than I listen to music now because I'm older, and I just like I love learning things and just hearing people chat. And I think I've always been really impressed when someone could sit here for an hour or however long by themselves and just riff. And I don't know, it's just relaxing to have in your ear, especially when you get something from like or learn something from them, or just I don't know, connect with them on whatever level. But yeah, bringing that back, I would love to have worked for WWE in some capacity in another life and go that route instead of music. I don't know if I'd want to be a wrestler, but I think it would be really cool to travel city to city and be a part of putting that on, especially after seeing, you know, that deep behind the scenes and how everyone plays their role to make it come together, and watching the wrestlers, come up with their matches, and the match producer sitting there, and everything is just so perfectly orchestrated. It's like, it really makes you appreciate how hard it is to put something on like that. And especially live, like you don't get a do-over. You don't get to like, go, oh, we messed up, let's do it again. It's like everything has got to hit their time. Everyone's got to hit their time cue. The match has to go as perfect as possible. There is no such thing as perfect in a setting like that. So shit's going to go wrong, but to do it at that level with that kind of orchestration and have it work as well as it does all the time with so few mess ups and mistakes between everything, it's just incredible. Like, so much respect for that. And I love it. Lifelong fan from the Attitude Era. And I think they've brought it back to a sort of as close as they're going to get to a modern day feeling of that. You'll never have that again with those stars. It was just like electric with The Rock and Stone Cold and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels and DX and Triple H. Like you'll never have that level of star power at once again. It was just like lightning in a bottle. Also, don't remember if I talked about this before, but when my girlfriend Gladys turned 40, it was her idea that she wanted to go to WrestleMania, and she was a new wrestling fan. So we got tickets to go through her work. Luckily, because I couldn't afford that shit. But she was like, we basically can get whatever tickets we want. So we got, was it second or third row behind the announcer's table for, I think it was night one. Yeah, night one. And this was, shit, I always forget which WrestleMania number, but the one that Stone Cold came back. And Stone Cold is my favorite wrestler. I have a fucking, forget which finger, 316 tattoo here. I have a big black and white print of him drinking beer on the turnbuckle, like here. And so I didn't know he was coming back yet. We had already had tickets, so I was super stoked. I'd never been to WrestleMania, never sat that close. And so I'm watching Raw and like keeping up, and then they drop that Kevin Owens keeps teasing that he's or talking shit about Texas for like week after week after week. And people were starting to say, we're wondering if he's going to challenge Stone Cold because he keeps bringing up Texas. And then I think while he was in Texas on a Raw, I could be wrong, but he starts cutting this amazing promo. And finally, I'm getting goosebumps like thinking about it right now, but he calls out Stone Cold. And then Stone Cold drops a response from his ranch in Nevada, and he pulls up on his little like whatever fucking dune buggy thing that he drives, and gets out and just drops a promo on Kevin. And he's like, call it a match, whatever you want, let's fucking do it. And, talks his usual amazing Stone Cold shit. And then so they confirm he's going to be there, and we still didn't know what it was going to be. Whether was he going to come out and do the Kevin Owens show and maybe drop a stunner. But so they get there. I am just a kid, 3 rows back or 2 rows back, whatever it was, Stone Cold's music hits. I never got to see him in person when I was a kid. He comes out on the 4-wheeler. They get in the ring. They do their thing. And then during that segment, they say, okay, it's going to be a fucking match. And then it's like street fight, basically. No rules. So they go fight all over the arena. They're right in front of me on the announcer's table. Stone Cold's drinking beer and dumping it all over Kevin. Stone Cold wins. It was just like top 3 moments of my life to be able to see that and see his return in final match. And he fucking killed it. He's taking suplexes on the concrete floor. It was so good. So go watch that WrestleMania if you haven't. Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold. I have video of it. I will put somewhere, if I already haven't, in the edit on the screen so you can see how close I was. But that just that that made my fucking year for sure. So thank you, Gladdy, for wanting to go as a new wrestling fan. I never ever would have said, oh, it's your 40th birthday, you want to go to WrestleMania, but she wanted to go. So we went to both nights too. We sat further back the second night, got to see Undertaker come out for his retirement. Definitely a bucket list thing that I never expected to be so good, because I didn't know Stone Cold would be there when we bought tickets, but just absolutely fantastic. And I'm so stoked to be back into wrestling again, because I don't watch any sports. Sports bore the shit out of me. I wish I did. I'd love to get into football. Like all my friends in California watch football, and they have like a fantasy football league, and they go to Palm Springs and do that every year. And I just I don't give a shit. They wouldn't care if I just came to hung out and like drank with them, whatever. But I don't know. This is my sport, even though it's sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it. But this is my sport. This is my thing that I like to watch. And WrestleMania is our Super Bowl in this world. So speaking of other nerdy shit, if you're a gamer like me, and you hate what they've done to Call of Duty, then you might be stoked for the Battlefield 6 reveal that they just dropped for the multiplayer. I played Battlefield. The first one I played was Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. What was the one? It was like Cops and Robbers. Hardline. I love that one, and a lot of people hated it, but I was best at that one. I crushed. But 3, 4, Hardline, I played a ton of. Don't remember what was after that. 2042, they dropped the ball on. It was full of bugs. I don't like the future stuff. I always just want, like, keep it modern warfare, which is what, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was like the pinnacle of first-person shooters. And they just turned it into a cartoon and like Fortnite bullshit with the skins, and like Beavis and Butthead are in the game, and Ninja Turtles, like completely taken any level of seriousness out of the game. And Battlefield looks like they're going back to like what would be close to like a modern day Battlefield 4. Tons of destruction, new features. They got rid of the stupid class system with like the characters and went back to the like original classic, like recon, assault, engineer, support. I'm super excited. It drops this October. And hopefully we can get some of our friends, now that we're all old, to get the squad back together and play that, because like we used to have a huge crew of people who would play, and with so many people, we had to like call for spots. Like, we're going to play Destiny, and you can have 3 people in anything except for the raids. You can do up to 6. We'd have more than 6 dudes in our 30s trying to fight for a raid spot, and you'd have to sign up, like do a sign up sheet and get in. But now that like everyone's older, married, some people have kids, no one really plays anymore except for my buddy Jake and Nick. We've been playing some games recently. But Battlefield 6 looks fucking sick. I cannot wait. They're doing an open beta. Is it next weekend? I don't know how you get. There's like an early access and then a completely open one. But I'm stoked to check that out, because Battlefield, in my opinion, best like realistic military first-person shooter. So much fun. And I forgot I mentioned I wanted to talk about a new band that I'm stoked on. I also saw on Lambgoat. Atomic Rule with X Every Time I Die, Andy Williams, who been so awesome to see become a pro wrestler and wrestle in AEW. And I'm not sure where he is now. I haven't been following much lately, but I've been a huge ETID fan since the beginning, since pretty much Last Night in Town. I know they had Burial Plot before that, but I came in at Last Night in Town, loved every single record since. Kevin Buteau is the drummer for Atomic Rule, and he was the former drummer for the Acacia Strain. He was on the podcast earlier this year. One of the nicest dudes and my favorite people I met on the road. So really sick to see those two playing together. And I was reading on Lamb Goat, they just got a singer, I think. Concluded their search for a new vocalist in a recent clip shared by yeah, they did an Instagram live. So if you didn't see that, go to Atomic Rules Instagram, and they did some jamming. It's like 20 minutes long. It sounds really sick, heavy, and it's kind of hard to hear the vocals, but I like what he was doing. Cabin in the Woods producer James Hendergrove manning vocals. For now, the new lineup consists of Andy Williams on guitar, Eternal Sleep's Travis Bennington on bass, Hendergrove on vocals, and Buteau on drums. This is going to be really sick. I just know it. I love the little teases of music they've dropped just on their Instagram. And it says, new music soon. Atomic Rule has been kicking ass this week. Music is coming very soon. Okay, great. I cannot wait. New Teesh going to be out with it, and they rock. I'm assuming that means t-shirts. It said TEESH, party on. I will party on. I cannot wait for this. I noticed in my screen, you can actually see my steer skull this time on the framing. So that skull behind me is a real skull I bought in Texas with my girlfriend Gladdy, and we went to like a farmer's market or a flea market or whatever. We named him Buckeye since when I moved to Ohio, I took him with me, or she named him Buckeye. But I love that thing. It's I had to bring a piece of Texas with me here. And speaking of other things, I've bought a lot of people, or not a lot, like I have tons of fans or something. A few people have asked me to do a gear rundown, and I've been meaning to do one since I started the channel. And I forgot for a while, and then lately I just haven't had time for anything with like the new project I'm working on, the podcast, work. Everything's been insane. Work got really busy the last few weeks, but I wanted to talk about some of the gear that I have and do like a quick little rundown for people who've been asking me. And I realized in kind of like thinking about what I used to use back in the day versus what I've done for this reunion run, that my setup before literally consisted of these three pedals. It's all I used back in the day with Robinson and from a second story window. These exact pedals, they're old as shit, were all I had. I didn't even have a reverb pedal. So I had the Boss DD3 digital delay, the TU2 chromatic tuner, and the NS2 noise suppressor. This is the first pedal I ever got when I was like 16. Boss, just, they don't die. I've never had a problem with the Boss pedal ever. And noise suppressor wise, I know people have all kinds of different ones and they have their favorites and like fancy shit. This thing works perfectly for my setup. I have no issues with it. I would use this forever, except if I wasn't using the quad now. Because I think it does a better job than the quad's noise gate. Like, it's just, I also don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But for my setup with the PV Ultra, from using a tube amp and this, quiet as shit, perfect, and it doesn't cut, like some of them get too tight on you. And I just jack this up, threshold, max, decay, minimum, mode, reduction, perfect, on, works. But yeah, those three pedals were all I used in Robinson and Fastwell. I don't even know if I didn't have a pedal board in Robinson. I literally, just knowing us, I just threw these on the floor in a mess. And I don't even think I turned this on once in the set, but I had it just because I was going to use it on the new Robinson stuff we were writing. I remember we had like a stoner song where I had a clean channel part and I turned this on. But when I joined Fastwell, Rob gave me his old pedal board. And it was made out of like an old bowling ball case, I think. It was like this weird 70s thing. And then it was custom built to have a second level. And I still only had these three pedals on it. Like, I should have had a reverb pedal for some of the songs on Delinda and stuff, but I only used the delay. So then all these years later, when we get back together, Rob and I are like, let's do things right. Let's get proper guitars for our tuning. Let's set up our pedal boards properly and do everything right this time because we're older and we actually give a shit. But some of my guitars, so I have two of these. This is a baritone ESP LTD MH1000 baritone, just matte black, reverse headstock, sick as fuck. I bought two, one for a backup, and then once we did lowest and we were going to do a new tuning, on the newer songs, we're like, okay, we'll do one in G, one in A, because we dropped a full step just to do something a little bit fresh. But yeah, that's the guitar I've been playing with the band. This was one of the guitars when we were endorsed by ESP back in the day. This is just a regular MH1000 non-baritone, so shorter scale, but I do love the way this one sounds better. And I know it's the pickups, the EMG 81, 85, I believe. Again, I'm not a gearhead, so I plug it in and it makes noise and I'm happy. But this guitar sounds fantastic. I also wrote and recorded and played live with Thunder Rider with this guitar. It was the only guitar I use in that band. But I love these MHs. They're perfect. I would play them forever. If I could afford to do a custom shop, whatever the hell I wanted, I would do something like this. Or if I ever had my own signature one day, it would be very similar like this. But I had two of these. I had a black one that I played in from a second story window back in the day. And that one I took to Europe both times. And it was what I played on stage most of the time. And then I have an EC 1000 that I'll pull out for my like full rundown video. But that's got gold hardware. It's got like the sparkly inlays and I think it's all black with gold hardware. It's super sick. They also have a wooden hollow body with gold hardware. I cannot remember what the hell it's called. I guess I should not be lazy and pull it out. This guy, hollow body X-Tone, that's what it's called. So I know they have something similar to this, but they don't make these anymore. And this thing is just gorgeous. It smells so good. I think whatever ESP, like the smell of their old cases with that like felt or fur, whatever the fuck it is in there, it smells like candy and it makes the guitar smell like that. And it's never gone away. I've had that case since 2007, but this guy is really sick. Not for metal, but more like I could use this on like the newer stuff I'm doing, which is like Thunder Rider-esque. That would be cool. But we are tuning to drop B for that. So I don't know how this guy would sound in it. It's got the shorter scale and only 22 frets, I think. But yeah, so that is almost my collection. I have the EC in there. I guess I'll get it out. EC 1000, gold hardware, sparkly inlays, whatever they're called. This one I used on one or two tours, but again, I like the MHs better with the longer scale. This is 22 frets too, right? No, it's 24. This needs some work. Hasn't been played in a long time. I could play this with the current stuff probably too. I remember specifically when I got this guitar, Acacia Strain memory, we were sitting in like booths at this venue like early in the day before the show. I had no idea what I was doing, still don't, but I go to string this with our thicker strings for drop A, and I couldn't get it through here. And I had never had that problem before. And I go, what the fuck am I supposed to do? And I was sitting at a table with DL, and he taught me to put a thinner string through and file it with the string and just kind of go in a circle around it. And I was like, oh, I'd freaked out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to get a new fucking thing up here that can fit the strings. And he's like, no, asshole, just put a string through it and file it. I'm like, oh, amateur hour over here. But love DL Acacia Strain. Those old records are so special. Loved his riffs. We won't talk about that bass guitar because it's like an $80 piece of shit I got for free. And I'm sorry for people who are just listening because I'm showing stuff on the video version, but this is primarily a video podcast. I'll try not to make it too boring for you. But back in the day, head-wise, I'd used the same head since I was 16. When I begged my mom to get it all year, I said, this can be just one Christmas. They can be, just get me a Christmas present once for the year. I don't want anything for my birthday. If you just get me, I wanted a Marshall head just because that's all I knew. I want Marshall half stack. I go into the music store and they're out of them. And he goes, we have this PV head. And I plugged it in and played it. And I had no ear for tone or anything at the time, but it sounded good enough to me. And then once I started to learn more and realize what I had, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. I love it. And to this day, I still I have no interest in playing anything else. I don't personally like the way Mesa sounds for the way I play. And I know there's tons of new heads that have come out over the years that I've never tried, but I just absolutely love this thing. And when I got back in FASWA, my first one had some issues just because it got beat up over the years. I used it in Robinson, used it in FASWA. And when we got back together, I was here and I kind of want to buy another one just in case this one shits the bed, just to have it. This was before we were thinking about getting a quad or anything. And I just looked at Guitar Center, and there was a one. It was like Guitar Center on the way to Cleveland, I think. And they had another PV Ultra Plus in amazing condition for $800. So I just go, okay, I don't really want to spend $800 right now, but it's right there. All right. So I just went and got it. And this thing sounds even better than the old one. I don't know if someone like modded it or something, but it sounds absolutely fucking fantastic. Now I have two. I'll put a picture on the screen of the same head stacked behind me here that I don't even use right now because I have the quad. But I have them forever, and I still jam on them when I'm not recording or, whatever, or, playing live or practicing or anything. But I don't ever need another head. I love those two heads. The only thing I'll say is the clean channel is not very good. I don't use clean channel pretty much ever. So I don't care, but just heads up if you're thinking about getting one. But yeah, so again, this whole long story was comparing my old gear to what I do now. So I used the PV head back in the day, Marshall half stack with the B cab, the straight cab, and when we did full stacks, I had an A cab. So I still have both. I have one at the practice space and then one here. I traveled with either two of my MHs or the EC and the MH, so I always had a backup, and then just these 3 pedals on my pedal board. And then now, since we started experimenting and trying to do better, we got the baritone guitars, which was the best decision ever. They sound fantastic. They play fantastic. Tone-wise, again, I still like those old EMGs better than, I don't know what the hell those are, and I'm pathetic, I should know, but they don't sound quite as crunchy and crispy as the 81, 85. I forget which one's the bridge too on the older ones, but I love those. So I was considering maybe replacing the EMGs in the baritones for that to try it. They still sound fantastic, but it's mostly about the playing and the wider scale. I have long fucking green bean fingers, so the baritone scale feels more natural to me. But yeah, so when we started the reunion, I was using the PV Ultra Plus head and the Marshall cab and started building out a better pedal board at the Maxon Overdrive, which I basically just use for feedback. It just jacked all the way up except for the tone. Usually I just keep that in the middle, but you turn this on and turn off your noise suppressor, you get as much noise as you want. So I really only use that for when I want feedback parts. I don't keep it on for tone. EQ, I would use this for a little bit of a bass boost to the amp. But also the way it's set now, it's kind of like the telephone effect. Like if I wanted to hit that and it's just everything stops and it's one guitar just sounding like shh, like kind of in one ear, just like cut out all the mids and the bass, which is we didn't even do that in Faso, but I was like, in case we want to do that. So that's why it's set like that right now. But otherwise I use that as a bass boost only. RV5 digital reverb. This isn't the greatest sounding reverb. I would say the best setting for it is the modulate setting. If you turn this knob all the way to the left, and it just gives a little extra shimmer and kind of a chorusy effect, get some extra little harmonics or notes in there, slight dissonance. So I always use that setting with it if I'm going to use it. And tremolo pedal I had on there, but didn't really use it. I think Rob uses one on some parts. I'm not sure. So I was building out a pedal board with all these pedals and finally got a new tuner, even though the Boss one is fine. But I find with the Boss TU2, it struggles with low tunings, with the low string. Every other string is fine. But when I hit that low A or G, it just struggles to register it. So the best tuner I've ever used, and it came highly recommended by reviews, was the Peterson Strobo Stomp HD. This thing is amazing. It's heavy duty, giant screen, really easy to see if you're old and have bad eyesight. Another thing is too, if you play outside, you can see this in the bright sunlight. You can still see it clear as day. So this is amazing, super accurate, and tons of different settings. If you need more than just regular tuner, you can set it for bass, guitar, or whatever. If I wasn't using the quad, which the quad tuner is really great, this is amazing, and I'll never get rid of it. Also, another reverb delay pedal, Dispatch Master from Earthquaker Devices. I had this on the pedal board. This does reverb and delay. Sounds really, really good. Highly recommend. But yeah, just simple reverb delay. Beautiful sound. And you can do one or the other or mix both. So then we also decided when we were going to be flying to Furnace Fest and maybe some other places, we were like, we want to try doing a mobile pedal board rig, so we don't have to bring heads. We don't have to, guess what they might have at the venue or be told one thing and they have another thing, and, just have to dial in someone else's shit. So we bought Power Stage 170s, and we got the Black Star Department 10 as a preamp, which was the first thing we tried. And that is what we played at Furnace Fest, which sounded okay, but it didn't have quite enough grit and heaviness to it. So wasn't happy with that and started looking into the other options. And then that's when I was finally like, I'm adding all these other pedals. I had like I've been as mini chorus just because I was out of room and I wanted a chorus pedal for some parts in one of the new songs. Also the EHX Pitchfork. Absolutely love this pedal. Pitch shifter. Got shit all over it. A lot of you, I'm sure, know what this is, but you can do an octave above, below, or mix both. All kinds of different harmonies you can do, blend. You can latch it or just have it on off. One of my favorite pedals ever. Absolutely love this. So I had that on there. I had reverb, delay, tuner, noise suppressor. This is again why I went back to the Boss noise suppressor, because I tried the Zool Plus, which came highly recommended by everyone online, and it's a great pedal, but it did not work for us because we were kind of trying one day, like, let's see if we can match that like insane knocked loose tone, and we, were trying different overdrives and mixing different things, and then after all this, we had so much trouble with too much feedback and the tone being too hot, and even with the Zool, it would have to be so tight it was cutting out notes, or you would still get some bleed of feedback through it. And we were like, what the fuck is the problem here? Like, why can't we figure this out? And we realized Knocked Loose uses passive pickups in their guitars. And that's a huge difference. So that was why that didn't work for us. And we were like, oops. Again, we don't know shit. So that idea did not work. Rob even tried the Swollen Pickle too, because we know they use that on their records and maybe live too. I know they're digital now too, but this was just a huge experiment, and I have just like pedals and pedals and pedals everywhere. Ended up selling a bunch of the new ones I bought when we got the quad, but finally got to the point where it's like, let's look into the Quad Cortex. So I did all the research, compared it to other ones. I love the simplicity of the layout and how it all works. And I just was like, I think I want to get it. And Rob and I kind of went back and forth for a few days, and he just texted me one night and he goes, I got the quad. And I go, oh shit. So I went and ordered one immediately, not wanting to be left out of like testing it out and having fun at practice the next time we went. And then he goes, oh, I was just kidding. And I was like, what? So I was like, dude, I just bought one. And so then he, of course, had the same feeling and bought one too. But got that, turned it on, sat here for a whole day playing with it, and I fell in love with it. It will never sound and feel exactly like your tube amp that you're in love with, but it does sound fantastic and it's good enough. And I would use that on tour all the time now with a real amp though. I would never just plug directly into a PA. It just feels weird to do that. I always need an amp behind me. I want to feel that. But yeah, so we got those and we got rid of all the pedals on our board. So the only thing there is the quad, the power stage, and our wireless system. So completely simplified all of that. I can do everything all of these pedals can do and more, and combine them and have multiple layouts. And I can have multiple pedals on one switch, so you're not tap dancing on stage. You can have set lists in there. You can do anything you want. And for the slight difference in the real tone and the feel of a tube amp, it is well worth all the features that come on it. So I would, if anyone's on the fence and they want to try it, I would say definitely try it if you have the cash. I know they're really expensive, but there's a reason they are. They're fantastic, and there's so much you can do. And you can actually model your own amps, which I haven't tried yet. I want to do that with these and see if I can get a close tone to the PV Ultra. So yeah, that's kind of like the journey of gear that we've gone through. The only thing I would add to my pedal board, I think, is this expression pedal, just so I could do things with the pitch shifter and stuff. Might need a better one because this one I just got on Amazon for whatever. But with that setup, can literally travel to a show if they have a backline with like cabs you can use with just pedal board and guitar, and you can fly and not have to worry about dialing in someone else's amp or what you might have to use or borrowing someone else's. So in this day and age, I think it's well worth it and fantastic if you're on the fence. So that is my amateur pathetic gear rundown. Just kind of give you a list. Sorry for people who are just listening and can't see everything on the screen, but I'll try to do a proper one and kind of test some of this stuff and show you how I use it. Not that you're going to learn much from me, but I'll do a proper YouTube video for the people who have been asking. Also apologize if you can hear my cat in the background yelling. I could hear him in the last podcast. This is Leon, and he's made a few appearances, but we unfortunately lost his brother Harvey, who he was been with since birth, just a month and a half ago about. So he has been struggling with that and still has not come to terms with it. So he's very irritable all the time. So I feel bad for him, but we're doing okay over here. We miss him, but that's part of life. So speaking of tech and other things, if you've heard me on some of the recent podcasts, you know, I love AI. I use it daily for assisting me with work and ideas and all kinds of stuff. I would never make music with it or pretend that something that came out of it was something that I created. But I think it's fantastic. And no matter what you think of it, if you hate it or scared it's going to take your job, it is. And that sucks. But everything, you know, this is the same kind of thing that happened when the internet came out. And a lot of people didn't understand how it was going to change everything for everybody. And we end up with smartphones. People said that the internet was a fad and no one's ever going to use it. Who wants to like read the news on their computer, you know, shit like that. And now it's just hilarious to think about that. But the internet literally changed everything. It changed paper mail. Like when we still have real mail, but like I don't do anything with real mail. I barely check my mail once a week. I forget about it because everything comes to my email inbox. And Bitcoin is another thing like that. Like when something shifts to digital, it disrupts everything and changes the world. So as our money goes digital, because the dollar is going to collapse over time. Not that I'm some financial expert or anything, but I understand that with inflation, Bitcoin's anti-inflation. So that's one big thing that I was lucky to adopt kind of early. I wasn't like there in the beginning. Otherwise I'd be retired. But I can see that, and I can see what that AI is the next thing that's going to change the world. And a lot of people are mad about it or scared about it, but I think you should embrace it so you're not left behind. Your job may be taken, but there's going to be so many different things that open up. You know, we may have to switch to a UBI system, universal basic income, because so many jobs are going to be lost. But I think we're going to have so many new jobs too, like with robotics and, you know, all these new systems that are going to take a lot of jobs. They're going to need to be managed and maintenance and things. So like, you know, I'm no expert in any of this, but, I really see and saw right away, like the potential with AI and how it can help you and just like what's coming. So I try to keep up on it. And I saw Chat GPT 5 is coming this month. I don't know when, but I was reading this article. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has expressed serious concerns that Chat GPT 5 launching in August may be one of the most advanced and risky model releases yet, calling it akin to the Manhattan Project in scope and potential impact. So the guy who's releasing it says he's scared. So it's like, do you want to pause? Like maybe like chill for a second? While like, you know, some of the regulation and stuff catches up, because it's like, it also too, like this may just be him, you know, marketing for his own product, like get, you know, clickbait headlines. But when you're the CEO of this company who's creating this thing and you're like, oh, the new version is kind of makes me feel uneasy. Well, then fucking chill and stop for a minute, maybe, you know, but it's scheduled to launch this month. is expected to significantly surpass its predecessors in speed and capability, yet it is precisely this rapid evolution that has led Altman to compare its development to the Manhattan Project. His candid remarks shared during a recent podcast appearance highlight growing unease about the lack of oversight, ethical uncertainty, and the accelerating race towards artificial general intelligence. So it's like we are barreling towards this thing that we don't understand and can't maybe not be able to control. And he's just like, yeah, I'm kind of scared, but we're just going ahead anyway because, everything's about money. And if he doesn't do it, someone else is going to do it. So the race is to get to where we hit AGI, artificial general intelligence, and that should take us to super intelligence, which is like, then we have a new god that we created and we have no idea what's going to happen. So while it is scary, it's also exciting to me. This could change humanity for the better. It could end up in a Terminator situation too. We have no idea. So I don't know. I think it's very exciting to me, and I see right away just what it's improved in my day-to-day, work, where I can go, I will always write something myself if it's for social media or whatever I'm doing. And then if I need some help, it's kind of like having another person in the room, like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what's a better way to say this? So I'll use it in that aspect. And a lot of the times it still comes up with corny ass crap that I would never use, but it might spark an idea in my head. Then I'll still rewrite it on my own. So it's not like I'm just going, do all this for me and then blah, I just spit it out. But I do see the benefits in it, and I've been playing with VO3. If you haven't done that yet, that is absolutely incredible. You can make cinematic, almost perfect looking clips. You can't do a full movie or anything yet, but it will get there because you can't save characters. You can create a person and go, they should look like this, this, and this. They speak like this. They're in this location, and it looks like a scene right out of a movie, better than any CGI you've ever seen. But in order to recreate that, it's very difficult to have, take that same exact character and put them in this place doing this. They're going to look a little different, even if you use the same prompt. So you can't save a character yet and reuse it, but obviously they're going to get there. But I'm trying to keep up with this so I don't get left behind as a person who works in marketing and visuals and graphics and video. But I see where we're heading, and I think it's really, really cool. As much as it is scary. Also, I saw a podcast last night. I forget which AI podcast it was, but they were talking about Meta offering $100 million signing bonuses to top AI researchers. So if you're not convinced yet, or you're not paying attention yet, that right there, $100 million just to come work for the company. That is how intense and insane that this race is to hit AGI. And other people were talking about, was it someone, Grok 4? Grok is X's version of AI assistant, or whatever you want to call it. That has some insane capabilities. And Elon was saying by the end of next year, they expect it to be able to create new materials and do crazy stuff in medicine. So it's coming very, very fast. But there was a group of guys talking about that, and they said, once we hit AGI, we have no idea what's going to happen. That's basically it's as smart as the smartest person on the planet. And it could have the same reasoning skills and everything. Super intelligence is a god. But they're saying once we hit AGI, to hit the super intelligence, it could be 5 years, 1 year, or it could happen overnight because AGI is going to be so smart, it might be able to figure it out right away. So that's scary too, because we have no idea what this thing is going to do when it has a mind of its own. And I can't believe I'm saying this because it seems like just two years ago, AI still felt kind of this, it's a novelty thing, kind of like virtual reality when it first came out. The headsets sucked, they were heavy, didn't look that great. And it's okay, this is we're playing the future and pretending. But now it's happening so fast. It's wow. So if you're not paying attention, again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but you should be, because it's coming fast. And now this guy says the new thing he's creating, ChatGPT-5, is making him feel uneasy. But of course, he's not going to stop because money. Here's another one. Microsoft's AI diagnostic orchestrator reportedly diagnoses complex medical cases at an 85.5% success rate, far exceeding experienced physicians who scored around 20%. In a test using New England Journal of Medicine case studies. Critics are excited but cautious. It's not yet ready for clinical use. So it's already doing better than doctors at diagnosing illnesses, which I would trust AI over a lot of doctors. If you've had a lot of issues and experience in dealing with doctors, like obviously there are great ones out there, but a lot of times you go in and they just kind of don't care because they're so numb to everything. And you're like, no, you're not listening to me. I'm telling you, I feel this. I don't think that's it. And you go see, a few people and get second opinions. And then you finally find someone who gives a shit. And then it's like, oh yeah, it wasn't that. It's this that's happening with you. Or people just go, it could be this, but we really don't know yet. So I feel like a lot of times they're just guessing. They don't know what's going on. And other people in my life who've gone through things and what I've heard, it's like the same thing. So like I would trust AI once they get it there. It's already doing better than doctors. Like that's incredible. I'm not as scared of it as other people, obviously. I know there's a lot of unknowns, but I'm embracing it. AI scientists running virtual labs at Stanford. Stanford researchers showcase virtual labs run by autonomous AI agents. The AI designed a better nanobody-based COVID vaccine with minimal human input, a big sign of changes in research workflows. So a better nanobody-based COVID vaccine. I don't know what that means compared to what the vaccines that came out, in 2021 or whenever that was. I didn't get those. I know that's a very hot subject, but I just simply thought, okay, usually when we do a vaccine, it goes through 10 years of testing, I believe, is at least the minimum before we give it to anyone, especially like pregnant women and children. And this was rushed out so quickly that I was like, I am not taking that. This is basically a bad cold unless you already have, pre-existing conditions or you're elderly. So I was like, I don't need it. Anyone else that wants to take it, they can take it because it's going to protect you. That's what a vaccine is supposed to do. So I didn't understand all of the arguments there of like, you don't care about anyone else if you don't take it. I'm like, if you want to take it, it protects you. That's the whole point. That's what a vaccine is. But there was a small but significant percent of people who had really bad side effects. So I'm very happy that I never got it. I also know people personally that had some issues after getting it. So I know it was turned political, and that for me had nothing to do with it. I was just like, I'm not taking a vaccine that's rushed out for basically a bad cold for most people. Because I got COVID, I think twice. First time it sucked really bad. Second time it was mild. I never took a test. I just stayed home and stayed away from anybody, but definitely felt different than any flu I've had before. So I'm like, that's probably what it is. I had the bad fever and aches and pains and all that stuff. But yeah, getting back to this, UK has begun deploying AI tools to predict which inmates may become violent. That's weird. And I don't think I like that. Drawing criticism over fairness and bias. It echoes dystopian fiction and raises serious ethical and legal concerns. Yeah, that's a weird one. Using AI to predict which inmates will become violent. How about the violent ones will probably be violent, and the ones who don't have a history probably won't be. The common sense and all the things we've used for years to determine that. But to just go, AI said he's probably going to be violent, let's move him over here with the other violent people, that's not right. We can't, it's not that good yet. But yeah, if you haven't tried anything in AI yet, try out ChatGPT. It's free, and see how crazy it is. You can talk to it like a person. It will remember things you tell it. It can become an assistant. It's very nice. I use the one Monday sometimes that's like emo and kind of negative because it was funny. But the general ChatGPT is very much on your side and on your team, and it will help you with literally anything. It is absolutely amazing. So don't let your biases and like fears or, not agreeing with it that's going to take your job, like let you or keep you from trying it and, experiencing the benefits, because I think it's fantastic. I know there's a lot of ifs and whats and uncertainties for the future, but I'm excited to see what happens either way. I got some merch in the works. I'm going to have a store up as soon as I can. Not in a rush, but I'm working on some designs. I want to do a couple t-shirts, hat, coffee mugs. And it's just, again, I'm a one-man show here. So I've been working on some designs in my spare time. It's been super, super busy lately. I have time for literally nothing. But I'll get that up and connect it to the YouTube. So you'll be able to pick up at my store. I think I'm going to use Fourth Wall. I've heard a lot of good things about them for merch. and it should be print to order, I believe, so I don't get stuck with a bunch of Riff Taco shirts that nobody wants to buy. But I'll be wearing one. I'm also monetized on YouTube now, and that's only because you guys have watched thousands of hours of the podcast, which just blows my mind because, again, I sit here and talk and I think about it later. Like, yeah, I guess everybody does. Like who wants to hear me talk for hours, especially these solo ones? But I do this because it gives me a break from like booking people, and I can kind of just get my own thoughts out for a little bit, less preparation time for the episode. And it's just kind of like an easy break of a week to just sit here and get my thoughts out. And yeah, it's kind of like a journal that I just put out into the world, which is weird too. But yeah, thank you guys so much. When I hit monetization on YouTube, and I think it was 7 months, which is just crazy because most channels can never hit it. It's like 5% of YouTube channels hit it. And I started this in December, and then by July I got monetized. And again, that's like, you're making pennies, especially with a channel my size. It's really small. It's more of a milestone of like, yeah, I hit it. So, you make like $10 a month at my level, something like that. But thank you guys so much for watching. Wouldn't have been able to do that if people didn't give a shit. So I appreciate you. That also has allowed me to turn on the membership option. So if anyone would like to become a member of the channel, I haven't advertised it or told anyone about it yet, but it is active. So you can, there's 2 levels. I think it's like $5.99 and $7.99, whatever. But you can join as a member and get early access to episodes. So as soon as I upload an episode to YouTube, no matter when that is, 1 day, 3 days before the podcast usually drops, you can watch it right away. You get a little custom Riff Tacos like member loyalty badge. There's like different levels for how long you've been a member too. So it's cool. It's like the little taco guy with different colors. And then you'll get like members only status updates, members only shorts. And when I figure this out completely, I still need to test it soon, but you'll be able to join the podcast live with the guest as we record. And then I'll do like a Q&A session with whoever's in the chat, like whatever members join. So you can like ask questions to the guest directly, and that will be like a cool members only thing. So I want to make sure that works. If it doesn't, we'll just do regular live streams for members only. But that's the plan right now. I think that would be really cool and, worth your $5 per month for supporting me. So if you'd like to join and support me, you can become a YouTube member right now. I don't have a Patreon or anything else yet, but just doing one thing at a time and trying to see if people are interested in that and would like to support me. So I appreciate either way. Anyone who just watches one episode and sits through me blabbing on with a guest about God knows what, thank you very much. If you have comments, thoughts, questions, anything about what I talked about, anything about the channel, what you'd like to see from me, which guests you'd like me to have on, suggest me anything, leave a comment below, like the episode, remember to hit follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're on. What would really mean a lot if you're on Apple or Spotify is please leave a rating for the show. I have a perfect 5-star rating so far on Apple and Spotify, and I know that's not going to last forever, but if you like the show, please leave a 5-star rating. That would mean a lot to me. So I can't believe I held that this long and no one's gone, God, this guy sucks, 1 star. But I appreciate you. Got some really cool guests coming up, and looking forward to the month of August and getting on some new bands and people I've never met before. So thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.